happy. What's this random hair doing? Oh dear. Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Happy Choose You Today day. Good morning. Good morning. I am live on Instagram. So good morning if you're watching on Instagram, and I'm live over on Facebook as well, and LinkedIn and YouTube. So if you're on, say good morning. I can see your comments when they come up. This episode, this live, will be recorded for my podcast. It starts with you. So if you're listening on that, thank you. You want to be grateful you can't see me. My eyes are so tired. I have not slept enough. Weirdly, yesterday I had my brain scan results, and the night before my brain scan I slept really well, and yet last night I didn't sleep well at all. Bizarre. After you get the results, doesn't make any sense, but that's a kind of little bit what I want to talk to you about this morning, about things not making sense. Yes. Anyway, I called this episode Wading Through Muddy Waters. And you might have seen, I put a post on Facebook this morning about muddy waters, about the lotus flower. Lotus flower is so beautiful. And I was recently in Portugal and went to a place called the Buddha Eden Garden, which I think is the biggest Oriental garden in Europe. It is massive. It's got some great big statues there. It's a really beautiful place. You should go if you ever get to I think it's near Peniche, that kind of area of Portugal, which is like the silver coast, I think they call it. But it's beautiful. Anyway, good morning, Nicole and Romany. Happy Tuesday. So yeah, and there was some beautiful lotus flowers and lilies, and all in this beautiful big kind of like man-made pond lake. It's quite big, and I took some beautiful photos, so I used them today for my Facebook post. Good morning, Christina from the New Forest, just popping in to say hi. Have a fab day. You too. Thank you for popping in. Appreciate it. Good morning, Laura. So yeah, and obviously like the lotus flower is very symbolic in Buddhism. It symbolizes many different things, but you have to think about the lotus flower, and if you probably know this, that it grows through muddy waters, and it grows through mud, and it thrives, and it comes out, and it becomes this most beautiful, almost perfect flower. And the pink lotus flower is even more symbolic than some of the other ones. And I saw some beautiful pink ones, so I was relating that to good morning, Jacqueline. Good morning. To kind of life, how we grow through muddy waters. Like we all are going to have obstacles and have to face obstacles, and for the most part that is where we grow, right? That's how we grow, through the mud, through the obstacles, the hurdles. And it's just a fact. I wish it wasn't a fact. And can we grow when we're not in difficulty, when we're not in obstacles? I think we can. I think many people choose not to do that. I think it's a bit of a choice sometimes. Of course, there's never going to be the level of growth, I don't think, that you're going to get through going through obstacles and challenges, because we limit ourselves. We think we only have this finite amount of ability, and we underestimate what we actually can go through and what we actually can achieve. So when we're faced with hurdles, when we're faced with obstacles or challenges or difficulties, we often rise to the challenge, and we surpass and the things that we think we can do. And this is what happens because we absolutely limit ourselves. We want to sit in the comfort zone. We want things to be easy. I talk about that a lot. I want my life to be easy. But the growth comes from being in muddy waters and wading through the muddy waters. And going back to the point I was making about how can we grow when we're not faced with challenges, right? Because Who wants challenges? Who wants more of the obstacles? Not many people. And I don't, but I know that they're going to come, and I'm going to have to face them, and I'm going to have to work my way through them. But there is, rather than waiting for the obstacles to come before you've built resilience, before you've built some new strengths, some new ideas, some new adaptability, some new flexibility, some new skills. When you're in that place of comfort, you can still grow, but it's a choice. And it's a choice that most people don't make, in my opinion. And that's fine. Like, everyone is free to live how they want to live, right? Just as I am free to live how I want to live. I share very openly and very vulnerably about what's going on for me. You know, I've shared about my brain tumor, and I'll continue to do that. Some people think I shouldn't do that. That's up to them. I don't tell them how to live their life. I'm going to do it my way. And I think we have to be open-minded enough to accept that other people, let them do what they need to do, and you do what you do. I've lost my train of thought now, which happens a lot. Oh yeah. So I'll go back to my point about growing when we don't necessarily think we need to, or that we're just bumbling along with life. Good morning, Lorraine. Lorraine is just heading out to work, so sending lots of love. Love your lives. Thank you, darling. I love them too. I do love doing this shit. I absolutely love doing this stuff. I love talking. I love doing lives. I love speaking. I love group coaching. I love being a coach. I absolutely do. And I said that to somebody, I think it was yesterday, like, go and do what lights you up today. And I get to do what lights me up most days. I could do some more money in my bank account, but I still get to do what lights me up every day. So the conscious choice is, like, today, okay, like every day, pretty much, I wake up and I think I want to be a better person than I was yesterday. Good morning, Claire. Nice to see you. And this is what I'm talking about. When we face with obstacles and hurdles, we have no choice, right? We grow, we figure it out, we find solutions, we work our way through it, or we break, right? This is what happens. But when life is at that equilibrium and everything's hunky-dory, what are you doing about your personal development? What are you doing about your ability, your mindset, your body? What are you doing when life is just swimmingly going along with not much happening? That is, you know, I hope for you, the majority of your time is in that when life is, you know, okay, is not giving you challenges. I hope that that's the majority of your life. It's the majority of my life. And so that's the most time you have to stretch yourself, to push beyond the limits that you have. We all have these limits, and we can all push beyond them, but we have to make the conscious choice to do that. So do you get up in the morning and decide, actually, like, reflect on the day before or the week before, the month before, and think about some of the choices and the decisions, the actions and the things that you did that maybe you could do a little bit better, that maybe you could learn some lessons from. I always, on a Sunday night, if you come into the Life and Breath community, which is my membership, I encourage everyone in that group to reflect on the week that has just gone by. And reflection is such a powerful yet easy thing to do. And that's why keeping a journal every day is really important, because, you know, I did it the other week where I hadn't journaled much. And then I get to Sunday and I'm like, my brain is like, actually, how have I showed up this week? And it was a real struggle to remember. Whereas if you journal every day and then get to Sunday, you've got so much more information to look back on. Even if you just do it, like, I keep a bullet journal, so every day there's a line for every day as well as a journal page, and I just put the highlights in. Yesterday's was obviously Timmy the tumor. He stole the day, little shit. But just as a reminder, but it helps me when I think back and I think, oh, okay, how did I show up in that moment? What were my emotions? How did I react? And this is a really good tool to help you work on your personal development outside of hurdles and challenges in your everyday life. Good morning, Laura. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. So I hope that makes sense. Like, so my question for you today is, what personal development are you doing when you don't need to be doing personal development? That is the question. What are you doing outside of when you need to fucking do it? When there is hurdles to jump and when there's obstacles to get around or over? What are you doing? Because that takes up so much of your time. And just to reiterate the point I was making about how we limit ourselves, because we often think we know how we're going to react and behave to things. I remember when my dad got really sick. And I always thought, I'm pretty strong and resilient, and anything happens to my parents, I'm gonna be good and I'll keep it all together. Well, my dad had a really big stroke in 2015, and he was in like this coma state for about 3 days. I was a mess, like stressed, short-tempered, irritable. I didn't keep my shit together as well as I thought I would. And this is what can happen. We can often think we know how we're going to behave and react, and then something completely different. We react and behave in a completely different way. Maybe that's you. And if it is, let me know. Like, did you surprise yourself? Because and I pride myself on self-awareness and getting to know myself and living from a place of things that light me up. And self-awareness is one of the absolute biggest keys to personal growth. If you don't have any self-awareness, if you don't work on it, you're going to struggle. And that's why reflection is a really great tool, because it helps you create this awareness and this curiosity about how you're showing up in the world. And if you have none of it, if you don't utilize it, you'll really freaking struggle. But even with the best will in the world, the coaches of the world, the gurus of the world, whoever you are, at times you're going to surprise yourself. Your mind and your body is going to go, and you're going to be surprised about how you react. And that happened to me yesterday. And with Timmy the tumor, it's like, yeah, I have this great level of self-awareness, and I know I'm going to be all right, and I'm doing all right. And I've been convincing myself these last 10 weeks that I'm all good. And maybe you've tried to convince yourself of something in the past. And then you just have to get to a point where you can't get my words out. You're aware that actually you've just been kidding yourself. So my self-awareness has led me to become aware that the fact that I've been kidding myself. But I still have the awareness, right? Does that make sense? I said that really quickly. My self-awareness has made me aware that I've been kidding myself, because my body has reacted, even if in my head I convinced myself of something else. Your body always holds the score. So when you're going through some tough times, of course, your mindset and the conversations you have with yourself are absolutely crucial. They are crucial. But eventually, if you're kidding yourself, your body catches up with that. As my body has caught up with me on Friday or Saturday, my mood changed over something so tiny, so tiny, that actually couldn't be changed, that was completely out of my control. And I got annoyed at someone that wasn't their fault, and I held on to that annoyance for 3 days. Why do you think that is? Maybe you've done that, even though your logical brain is going, this is not their fault, this is out of their control, and this is out of your control. And your logical brain and my self-awareness knew all of that to be true. Like, this is ridiculous. But because of all the underlying shit, and this is the only thing that I can figure it out, and I hope that this is making sense and maybe helps you figure some shit out, is that because in my subconscious brain, in the back of my brain, I had all of this stuff going on about, worrying about Monday. And when you have maybe medical appointments coming up, or a big challenge coming up, or something you've got to get through, it sticks in your brain, right? Like the July 17th has been entrenched and entranced in my brain for 10 weeks, more than that. And despite me, thinking I'm all okay, every time someone said, oh, can you do July 17th, or can you do this on July 16th, or whatever, my brain always jumped to July 17th and Timmy. Even though despite I'm having this conscious conversation with myself. So you might think you know how you're going to react. You might think you're holding the score. The brain is holding the score. And I have convinced myself that I have. But my body really wasn't till I got to yesterday that I started to break it all down, that my mood, my irritability, my short-temperedness, all of these things actually wasn't about the thing. It's never about the fucking thing. Like that tiny little thing, it's never about that thing. Don't, if some little tiny thing sets you off, it's not that thing. Trust me, this is where self-awareness and curiosity really play a part. Go fucking journal, get your book out, write your thoughts, your feelings, go for a walk. It's never about the thing. And eventually, like my body, I couldn't eat yesterday. I had a very upset tummy. And I was literally like, as the day got on and on and on, my levels, I hate using the word anxiety, but I'm going to use it, got worse as I got nearer the time, to a point that it just bubbled over. And I've not really wanted to talk to anyone for the last few days. I've not wanted to communicate yet. I want to share, but I don't want to talk. I don't want to be asked about it. And maybe you felt like this before. And the reason I'm sharing all this is because despite all the self-awareness, sometimes we're still not aware enough to really figure it out until after the event. My beautiful friend Liz Brown, who is such a spiritual and wise woman, teaches me so much. And she told me many, many, many years ago, you can only connect the dots looking back. And it's so true. You can only connect the dots looking back. When you're in it, trying to figure that shit out is really difficult. And this is why it's important to keep a journal about your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your behaviors. You have the awareness in the presence of mind at the time, and then you'll be able to look back, see patterns, and connect the dots, which is how we then use that information and that learning and that self-awareness for when we then go on and go forward in life, and then we have further obstacles to overcome and get through. And I'll say this about hurdles that we have to face. There's a beautiful quote, don't know who said it, but the longer you leave the hurdle, the higher it becomes. Now, some hurdles you can't avoid. They are time constrained by other people, like my hospital yesterday. Can't do anything about that. But if you have an obstacle, if you have something that you need to get done that you don't want to do, it's stressing you out, it's worrying you, whatever, it's, you know, it's going to be hard to do. The longer you leave that hurdle, because it's something to get over, the higher it becomes, the bigger it becomes. It's that whole thing I was talking about a couple of weeks ago, where we suppress and we bottle and we push it down. And by pushing our emotions down and away, you're just making them bigger. You're making them expand. You're putting that pressure down, just makes it expand and get bigger. And this is what happens. Good morning, Alice. How are you? So those are my thoughts for Tuesday. And if you're listening on the podcast, whatever day you're listening to this on, thank you for listening. Wading your way through muddy waters can actually absolutely, it's of value. We need to do it. You will have to do it. And it's up to you how you decide to do it. To fight it, life will always win, or to find the lessons and the learning. And I'm always trying to find the lessons and the learning. I'm always trying to think, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? What is this teaching me? Like yesterday, immediately, like after, like when I spoke to a consultant, I was just tell me, like I literally just fucking tell me. And you know, but also I managed to temper my emotions coming away, and I did some breath work in the car, and I just thought, what is this teaching me? You know, what is this teaching me? And this whole last few days, what is it teaching me? And get curious with yourself. This is self-awareness, and it is one of the most powerful tools that you can use in your personal development. So be curious every day, regardless of whether you have an obstacle or a challenge or something to get through. Be curious, get yourself a journal, write your thoughts, your feelings down, and start to see patterns. And then you'll be able to connect the dots when you look back and think, oh yeah, well, next time I'll be able to implement this. I'll be able to do this in a different way. Alice says, that's how I feel about last week, because that was a hard one for me. Oh, I'm sending you so much love, Alice. And yeah, we have to take the lessons, right? And we have to have faith over fear. Like faith is like, we have to have that belief over the fear, right? You have to have the belief that this is doing something for you rather than against you. And you know, when I was out walking the dog yesterday, I went out for a walk before the hospital, and I didn't take my phone. And I thought, okay, how is this a win-win situation for me today? And I thought either way I win. This is the pronoia part, right? Because if he's gone, fucking brilliant. I mean, I know the chances of the brain tumor going are small, but there is always hope. There is always a margin for magic. If he's still there and hasn't grown, that's also great. I've learned from these last 10 weeks, and I will have learnings to carry forward to the next scan. And if he's grown, then there will be some hurdles and some obstacles to face. But I will also learn and take lessons from those that will help me dig deeper into some resources that I have not yet accessed. And if I can access those deeper resources, imagine what I can do for my clients. Because you can only take your clients as deep as you go yourself. And sometimes you might see my stuff and think that's deep, that's oversharing. But imagine what I can do for you. If I take myself to those deep levels, if I'm willing to share some of that deep stuff, then I can take my clients there too. So I created that scenario of pronoia yesterday morning when I was walking Dory Dog. Alice said, I need to do more journaling. It's not easy for me though. There is always hope. Yeah, there is always hope. And look, everyone doesn't find journaling easy. I get it. And sometimes I don't want to do it. Like I said, I think I said earlier in this conversation, I had a week where I didn't really journal much. And now I'm having a bit of a spate where I am journaling. And weirdly, July is all about trust in my journal, which is great. Like, I'm learning to trust myself. I'm learning to have my own back. And that's something really important that we can all do. And journaling actually will help you with that, because once you start writing down what's happening for you, once you start writing down and getting curious about how you managed it and how you handled it, you'll realize that you can actually trust yourself and you can rely on yourself to get you through whatever you have to get through. Now, journaling, you can write it, you can bullet point it, you can draw it, do air bubbles, you can voice note journaling. There is some apps now that you don't even have to write if you don't want to. I find writing is very good. It's a really nice, beautiful energy to use that energy to put it down on paper and see that you're creating words. It is really powerful. But like I say, you could draw, you could bullet point, you can do it any freaking way you want to do it. Some days I wish I could just write all day, every day. Some days I find so much joy in writing, usually when I'm feeling pain. And actually yesterday, I wrote, what day is it? Tuesday? I wrote Monday night and I wrote yesterday. And that's because when I'm struggling more, that's when I find it easier to write. I don't know why. But I would say start small. Just tell yourself you're going to write 2 lines or you're going to write for 3 minutes. If you don't know what to write in your journal, start by writing the word today and go from there. And I always sit here, well, not always, but I often sit here and I write today. Today is Tuesday, the 18th of July. It's a non-refundable day. I'm sitting at my desk. I can hear the washing machine in the background and the traffic from the road outside. The sun is shining. There's a few wispy clouds. Dory's asleep on her bed. And I go from there and I see where the flow takes me. I woke up feeling tired or happy or glad or sad or a bit low on energy. Go there with that and let it flow and let's see what comes. But this is the key to journaling. This is the absolute key. If you don't do this, don't fucking bother journaling. Truth. Be truthful. No matter how awful it might feel to write it down. You might want to murder your ex-partner. Like, you're not going to do it, but you just fucking wish they weren't around anymore. I have done that, and my therapist told me it was perfectly okay. I probably shouldn't have said that out loud, but it's true. She said a lot of people feel like that. I mean, you're going to go and kill him. I wouldn't hurt a fly, and I literally wouldn't. I'm a part-time Buddhist. I don't hurt creatures. But be truthful with how you're feeling. Angry, upset, annoyed, frustrated, guilty, shame, whatever it is. Even if you can't describe it with those kind of words, try to describe how you're feeling in your body. Like yesterday, I wrote this morning, I had a fizzy tummy yesterday. I didn't know how else to describe it. It wasn't butterflies. It was probably the anxiety in my stomach. And I just called it a fizzy tummy. Call it whatever it feels like to you. Describe it in that way, and that's how you start journaling. Probably should do a journaling workshop. It's so freaking good. Like I said, personal development starts with self-awareness, and self-awareness starts with your conversations with yourself and what you write and what you know, that stuff that's in your brain. You get how you get that down in a journal. Okay, I've spoken way too long this morning, 25 whole minutes. If you've been listening on the podcast, thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and share. Any questions, any comments, please drop me a message. My Breaking Your Own Limits program starts in September. I did a soft launch, maybe a couple of months ago now. So anyone that signed up then got it super cheap. It's still bloody cheap and value for money, because you can absolutely transform and change your freaking life. Don't wait until you need to change, like most people do. Most people wait until they need to change. Then it is super painful. How about thinking about your limitations now? Because I know that you can go beyond where you think you can. I know this because we all have to do it when we're forged in fire, when we have to go through obstacles and climb bigger mountains. Then we rise up, and then we realize, actually, I was limiting myself. I was holding myself back. Or let me help you work through that crap of that stuff that holds us back. Confidence, relationships, awareness, and purpose. That's part of the Breaking Your Own Limits program. You can go check it out at sam-adams.com/feel alive, FEELALIVE, or just go to my website. At the very least, sign up to my newsletter there that will come up on the pop up. And there'll be a newsletter going out tomorrow, probably. Anyway, Alice said it's never too long. Oh, bless you, Alice. Thank you for that. Okay, I wish you a very happy Tuesday. I will see you all. I'll probably be back tomorrow, all being well. Sorry about the tired eyes.